definitely that. We here?
Let's see.
Come on, internet.
We are live. All right. It's Prop the Mic.
You did it.
PTM. Dave remains in Cancun drinking cocktails with his feet in the sand on the beach. So it's the Tom and Tim show again for the NFC South matchup on Thursday Night Football between the Falcons and the Bucks. We've been having some technical difficulties this morning, so thank you all for bearing with us. And let's get this show on the road. As always, today's podcast is presented by Props.cash. We 100% could not do what we do without Props.cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM and sign up to get 25% off your first month. And quick shout out to the PTM Discord. Join us now where you can get all the VIP picks, the stuff we discussed today, some builders we'll put together based on this information, and all the rest of the picks from our whole handicapping crew over at PTM. You can use the same PTM discount code to get in the door. Over in the Discord, things are popping. What's going on, Tim?
Well, Atalanta in the Champions League early game just covered 3 by themselves, so we started off pretty good. I love that.
And all right, so you're peering
we're
over
gonna
your
get to
shoulder
football.
there.
Yeah, they just finished off. There's a huge Champions League slate, which we would normally attack, but MLS, Major League Soccer, has a full slate tonight, and Messi is coming to town. So I'm headed over to watch the crew defeat Messi, hopefully. So my mind is very on soccer, but we're going to cover some football, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
I hated this game when I first looked at it. Remember how the last game, every passing prop looked incredible?
Yeah.
Like every reception, this one doesn't look the same, but I think we've got some good spots.
Yeah, I think so. I dove into this game quite a bit. These Thursday night games, right? Always a little, want to play a little cautiously. But a division game like this on Thursday night should be fun, and hopefully we get some scoring, so we go over on some props here. All right, let's intro the game. Let's get into it here. We have the Tampa Bay Bucks going into Atlanta to play the Falcons. Falcons are 1.5 point favorites at home, so not really a favorite, I guess. Used to get 3 points for being at home. I think it's 2.5. So really, they're saying here Tampa Bay is the better team. 43.5 point total in this game. I got some nice trends to look at. Let's just start right off the top with the quarterbacks. We have some nice trends to look at. Atlanta and Tampa Bay are both tied for the 6th most completions to quarterbacks, averaging 23.5 completions per game. But the attempts are where they diverge. Tampa Bay has allowed the 5th most quarterback attempts, whereas Atlanta has allowed the 14th most, so higher percentage on the Tampa Bay side. Tampa Bay's defense has the 5th highest quarterback pressure rate. So Kirk Cousins might be under some pressure, whereas Atlanta's defense has the 2nd lowest quarterback pressure rate. So maybe a little extra time for Baker Mayfield to throw the ball. But here's where it gets very interesting, and I know Tim is gonna love. Atlanta and Tampa Bay are the number 1 and number 2 teams in terms of quarterback rush attempts, quarterback rushing yards, and quarterback rushing anytime touchdowns. Tampa Bay has allowed 4 QB rushing touchdowns. Atlanta has allowed 3. That's tied for 2nd. Tampa Bay stands alone in 1st place. That was 2 to Taysom Hill just this last Sunday. I think 1 to Jalen Hurts. So what do you like? I know you're going to like something on the quarterback rushing side, right?
Before we dive into that, I do love Kirk Cousins passing, like you're talking about. I think the 200, I think he covers the 225, 226, depending on what you're seeing. But 200 plus on a builder line should be pretty solid. So I want to start with that.
Okay.
But
yeah,
yes, 100%. We're going to talk about Baker Mayfield's rushing yards. And we're going to talk about the attempts. 36 attempts per game is what I was talking about when our thing cut out. is what Atlanta is allowing.
Mhm.
But look at the last 1, 2,
You're
3,
talking about
4.
you're talking about passing attempts.
No. Sorry, rushing attempts and rushing yards. We're
Okay.
all over Baker Mayfield, 9.5 rushing yards. He's up to 11.5 in some places, and I think
Yeah.
we're getting that because of that dud of a performance.
Let's pull up the prop screen here.
Yeah, give me
That would
that
make
because there's a lot in here that I want to show because he got nothing against Denver and then 10 against Philly. So I think if that Philly game is 10 or greater, we see like a 15 or a 17 line, and we're getting it at 9.5.
Can you
So
see
take
that?
that as a straight. Let me see. I'm switching over.
There we go.
Yes. Okay. So go to 2024 or head to head, either one. But I think 2024 is probably a good. Yeah. So see that little gap right there is why we're getting this price in this line. It's 9.5 on FanDuel right now at -113. Other places have it as high as 11.5 at still juice to the over. So I would say go get that right now. Take that straight, but click on his rushing attempts. Get a little rush A up top there.
There we go.
So 2.5, 3.5, wherever you can find it. 3.5 is going to be like +130, as you can see on DraftKings. Click that little odds versus Atlanta. These are quarterback rushing attempts, running back rushing attempts. Either way, doesn't matter. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
green
straight.
checks. Yeah.
And that's Sam Howell, Baker Mayfield another time. He was the 2.5 line. Justin Fields, obviously, a couple times. Jalen Hurts, Mahomes, and our guy, Derek Carr. So what I was saying when it was cutting out was what we did with Jared Goff in the last free play was Jared Goff over 1 plus rushing yard because his line was a half, and then take the attempts at 1.5. That was +100 and -109. So if you take them together, not as a parlay, but two straights, we get the attempts. It covers the yards. If it gets the yards, we get them both, right?
Yeah.
So take this the same way. I would take Baker Mayfield's yardage straight at -113, and then do it to win whatever you put on his rushing attempts, whether that be 2.5 or 3.5. I like the 3.5 at plus money. It's like +130. And then that way, if we hit the attempts with kneel downs and we don't get the yardage for some reason, we actually profit $7. Or if we hit them both, we just have a party. So
there we go.
Do not make a 59 leg parlay and think that they're all going to hit and then yell at me on Twitter when we break even. But take this as individual straight plays. I really like this spot for him. I do not like Kirk Cousins rushing, but I like this spot for him.
Yeah.
And then you've got a little stretch for those of you crackheads who want the plus 1100s. I think we got a pretty sweet one.
Yeah, so his anytime touchdown, he's had 2 through 4 games this season, including just on Sunday against Philly, where he had 3 red zone rushing attempts in that game. The last time they played Atlanta in Atlanta at the end of last season, he ran one in. And if we look at odds against Atlanta here for quarterbacks, Taysom Hill ran 2 in. Jalen Hurts ran 1 in. And you can get his odds on FanDuel +700 for an anytime touchdown. I think it's worth a little sprinkle, or you put that with what did I send you yesterday? 25 Baker Mayfield rushing yards and an anytime touchdown, and you're talking big odds then. So you see,
or you could try to do. I would take those 2 straights I gave you, combine those with the touchdown.
There you go.
And then sprinkle a little bit on that. You'll probably get 1,000 or longer odds.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think so.
But 36 attempts. That is so many rushing attempts. Teams sometimes get like 40 plays in a game. Like this is a lot of rushing attempts. So I think that they will be ahead. He's going to sling it early, and I think they're going to turn to him with his legs.
Yeah, I think the way Atlanta's like defensive alignments work, they play like a lot of cover 4, 2 high safeties, and I think that lends teams to running the ball in those sorts of situations. So that's why you're seeing so much running against Atlanta. So yeah, I think that's a good look. I would even I ended up not getting a play on either. They're splitting the backfield now between Bucky Irving and Rachaad White, but I think they're both in good spots. This is not one of my plays. I don't know if it was one of your plays, but each of them for like 25 rushing yards are nice builder legs. You can see Bucky Irving. I mean, this guy's just been awesome so far in his young career. And Rachaad White also 25 plus rushing yards in 2 of 4 games this season. He's gotten there. You can just look real quick. I like to look at games with Baker Mayfield. I mean, look at that. Only twice has he gone under 25 rushing yards with Baker Mayfield
That
at
makes a lot of
quarterback.
sense.
Yeah. So I didn't plan on bringing that one up, but there you go.
I'm trying to keep minimal offensive players involved in my in this game. Is like anything that could be a question. Baker Mayfield will be on the field every play unless he's dead, and he will have to scramble. So I'm like, give me the highest probability with this backfield. I'm keeping my money in my pocket. But if you want to party, both those at 25 seem good.
We like to party here.
Yeah, that's not the party I'm looking for this week. I don't want a running back carousel.
Yeah, I hear you. Me
rotating
neither.
running back
Yeah,
room.
that's why it wasn't. That's just for people who like to go crazy with some builders.
We
When
like
they
to
give out that
really
information.
party.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick though,
Yeah.
Bucky Irving, the one thing I did have written down was he has covered his 6.5 receiving yards, which is his line on a few books,
Mhm.
2 out of 4, and he had 6 against Philly. So at -113 yet again, 6.5 receiving yards for him. I'd rather have that than the rushing attempts. Nope, the rushing yards, personally.
Yeah, I think that's a nice low line. You see, he gets besides that one game, 3 to not a ton of targets, obviously, but consistently, 2 or 3 targets a game.
They're very
and,
short check downs,
yeah.
in third down situations. So there's room for him to gain sub 10 yards pretty easily on those.
Yeah.
If it's a 3rd and 12 and you get an 8-yard check down, doesn't help the field position, but changes the game in betting for sure.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. That's the only running back I like.
All right.
That's not true. Tyler Algier, same way. If you really want to party, Tyler Algier, you can make a very good.
Take a look.
You can make a very good case for his receiving yards at only 2.5. He covered it last game with 20, and then Philly. What's that?
That's crazy. 2.5.
I know.
Receiving
What am I
yards, yeah.
missing here? Is Bijan just gonna take over?
Look at him against.
He had
Tampa
one
Bay
good,
last
really good game
season,
against
yeah.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on those two. I like low totals, 2, 3, 6 yards, 7 yards. That kind of stuff is really proving to be valuable. Like we did with who did I smack? Oh, Chardonnay, old Champagne Chardonnay out of Seattle. He had like 80 receiving yards, just like you've checked. He needed 1 yard. We got like 40 out of him. Keep an eye on those players. It's really low totals as you're going through props every week, because there's a lot of value down there and nobody's paying attention to those. So I shouldn't tell them, don't look at them. But yeah, where people aren't looking, there is less attention and a better room for sharps. So look for the shit that nobody's betting on.
Good suggestion there. Get some value there.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Should we get back to Kirk Cousins here?
Yeah, hit me with it.
Yeah. All right. So Kirk Cousins passing yards. I see this line's it's moving up a little bit. It was 227 earlier. I think maybe even 226. Now we're seeing 228 on FanDuel. He's gone over in 3 straight, just squeaking by though. But if you look against Tampa Bay last season when he was with the Vikings, 344 passing yards in those games. But we can't pull this up on props. But interestingly, I did a little digging and wanted to see how Kirk Cousins has performed. I do this usually on Thursday nights because I just like to see if there's any sort of trends on guys performing well or really poorly on the short rest you get on Thursday Night Football. And he's been surprisingly good. So just going back to 2018 when he became the Vikings quarterback, he's averaged
Primetime Kirk.
That's it. 5 Thursday Night Football games, 26.8 completions, 37.6 attempts, 317 yards, and 2.5 touchdowns in those 5 games. That's 3-0, 2-3, and 4. His last game last season, 4 touchdowns on Thursday Night Football. And here's why I like it even more, because if you look at the quarterbacks that Tampa Bay's played so far, it's Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix, Jared Goff, and Jaden Daniels. the only real comp in that list is Jared Goff to Kirk Cousins there. Goff threw for 307 on a line of 268.5 in that game. So I think he had 34 completions in that game, 55 attempts. In Cousins' game against Tampa Bay last season, he had 44 attempts. So I like Cousins to go over the 227.5 passing yards.
I'm right there with you. Look at his. Oh, you pulled the head-to-head up. Yeah, he torched him. Think about game script. Obviously, Baker's been slinging it. He's got Godwin. Mike Evans is coming into form.
Yep.
I hate all of their receivers for betting, but he's going to throw it to some of them, and they're going to go down the field for more than 200 or 226 yards or whatever. So the 200 builder leg would be a really solid. If you've got something that's like minus 200 or minus 300, you add his 200 plus, you're getting to a straight play cost.
Yeah,
so that'll be
minus 250 on FanDuel for 200 yards. Minus 250 is just a great builder leg, right? Two legs get you to even money at minus 250. So that's nice. I like that. I like that a lot, Tim.
Yeah, he's on my list. That was at the top of my cheat sheet for add to anything.
All right. Moving right along. So the other place that we can target, so interestingly, you had the quarterback rushing matchup where Atlanta and Tampa Bay were number 1 and number 2. You have another matchup where they're both really poor defensively, and that's targets to running backs. Tampa Bay's allowed the third most running back targets, second most running back receptions, second most running back receiving yards, whereas Atlanta has allowed the 6th most running back targets, 6th most running back receptions. So I think you can look to it's always my favorite place to look, running back receiving. And I think my favorite of the bunch is Bijan. Let's take a look. Bijan Robinson, over 25.5 receiving yards. It's crept up to 26.5. Look at his targets this season. Very consistent. 5, a little dip down against KC there too, but then 4. Look at what he's done.
I had him 3 receptions in that game. The 2. There was
you get burned.
Was like a lateral that was supposed to be forward, but they counted it as a backward pass. I'm not salty about him at all.
So look at him. I like putting his filter, put it up to 3 targets, right? And just look at what he's done at home with 3 targets. That's
that looks pretty good.
Pretty good. 30. That's averaging 39 receiving yards. If you look at this, 40 plus receiving yards, 6 of those 8 times, including his last 4 straight. So if you wanted to get a little saucy and Bijan 40 plus receiving yards, like plus 300, I think that could be a nice little piece if you want some high odds. I think that's a good spot, and also love it because if we look at Tampa Bay here, running backs, you could see why we like this so much. Javonte Williams 4, Jaleel McLaughlin 1 in the same game. In the same game against the Lions, Monty had 4, Gibbs 7. The same game against the Commanders, Robinson 3, Eckler 4 receptions. Liking Bijan quite a bit here on the receiving side.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
All right. That was all I had. I got a couple plays. I got a wide receiver on each team play left, but you got anything you want to cover?
Yeah, I was going to jump into a little bit of what first quarter. Should we leave that out and just leave that for the Discord, or should we dive into that a little bit?
Oh, let's dive into it a little bit.
All right, let's go over what happened on Monday night. We had 2 players from each game. Actually, I need to walk back my statement last week of saying I like the 2 games. They got to be separate. The 2 start times had me so fucked up with trying to see how something performed. You know what I mean? Like,
it
was too close. So I still love 2 games, just separate them. But we had 2 players in the first game, 2 players in the second game, first quarter props. And these first quarter receiving, for example, if you go to Chris Godwin, first quarter 5+ receiving yards. So all we need are 5 yards first quarter.
Pretty good.
You get Yeah, so his line is 16.5. We only need 5. So we take like 4 legs right that. And teams look to
Sorry.
their stars to get started other than Miami. We had Tyreek Hill 5 receiving yards in the first quarter, and he had a drop fumble, a run backwards out of bounds, and like 15 or 16 rushing yards. So
Mhm.
that ruined the big play, but then we were able to take the remaining game and get the revenge on it. So we came up a unit or half, like 0.55. But in this one, what I'm looking for is stars to get going early. So like 5 first quarter receiving yards. He's hit it 100% of the time this season, 100% head to head. So that's one of them. But taking maybe because you get limited drives as well. So the strategy behind this one would be take those receivers who are performing early. So your Amon-Ra St. Browns, the people, Travis Kelsey until this year, people who are just always peppered with that first drive reception. And Chris
Mhm.
Godwin is at the absolute top of that list. He's looking to him first. So he would be mine on that side of the game. We'd probably have to get 3 to 4 to really get long odds. But if you take like 2 players, say Chris Godwin, and I don't know, you could go with Bijan to have a reception, or maybe actually I'd probably go with Drake London first quarter. Let me see what his first quarter is.
Yeah. Let's see.
Actually, he had pretty bad start in one game. He's covered it in 3 out of 4 if
Yeah.
you took him 5 plus. So I like that. I like Drake London to get going early um and Chris Godwin. So maybe we'll build a little bit more in here. I don't have one done yet, but I'm kind of just showing the reasoning as to how I get to these plays. And we've smacked a bunch of them recently, and they're giving
Yeah.
us really long odds, which is fun. I mean,
Yeah.
we're hitting like plus 600s, plus 1200s, that range on stuff that's like pretty statistically probable. And you're also, you know, by the end of quarter one where you're sitting. So you can kind of enjoy the rest of the game or, you know, regroup. But we smacked 2
Yeah.
straight for
It's been
like
fun.
60 into 700 or something like that. So, anyways, those are 2. Look at receiving first quarter and rushing first quarter. They give it to the running back early, and they give it to the star wide receivers early. Tight ends can be sneaky. We hit Sam Laporta a couple times, but I'd stick to just tried and true and look at Bijan's going to get 5 yards in the first quarter, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so getting that kind of, probably like a Bijan, Chris Godwin, uh, and what did I say? Drake London. The
Drake
3 of
London.
those will get you
Yeah.
to plus money pretty quick.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, those have been hitting and very fun in the Discord. To follow along with those, well done. Let's stick with Drake London for a second. I like his straight line 61.5. He's done this in let's start looking here first. Look at his targets so far this season. Week one,
Just
look
going
at
like
that
this. Yeah.
staircase. 3, 7,
Insane.
9, 12. So him and Kirk Cousins are definitely developing some chemistry there together, getting on the same page. If we look at what he's done, when he's had 5, we'll bring it to 5 targets. Remember, 7, 9, and 12 over his last 3 games. Just bring him to 5 targets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at home, look at that. 9 of his last 10 games, averaging 92.6, 8 straight games here. I think he loves to play at home. I think this is an awesome spot, high volume. They're going to be throwing the ball around. So I like his straight line 61.5.
I'm fine with you there. Makes
All right.
sense. I think he's going to be slinging it. For him to get 228
Yeah.
yards or whatever, he's got to throw it to somebody. And
Yeah.
he's really been targeting that man.
He has. And then if we look on the other side of the ball, the other guy who they got heavily involved in the offense last week, Mike Evans. Got targeted 14 times last Sunday.
Changed? I've been not talking shit about him, but he was very down, and then he just became the guy so fast.
Yeah, I think they I don't know. I think they wanted to get him more involved in the offense. And it was like the Chris Godwin show for a while. I mean, super good. Look at that. 8, 8, 9, 9 targets. It was time for Mike Evans to break out. And interestingly, if you look, let's take a look at Mike Evans here when he's played. What?
Our run might be over. I'm looking at quarter props. I was trying to get a price. no alts whatsoever. It's just the lines.
It's
So we got
early. It's
5
early
plus.
though. It's where the game's not till tomorrow. Are they
I
usually out this
know.
early? Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely out this early. They have all the first quarter lines. So like Godwin's first quarter is 9.5 receiving.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
no alt. I think they figured us out.
Hmm.
That was too good to be true, man. We were absolutely smoking that. I think I bought a small Honda this weekend with the money that we made from that and soccer. I didn't buy it, but I could have.
Yes.
It was fun.
Um,
Damn it, that makes me so sad. I feel like we need to have a funeral for first
don't
quarter props.
worry.
I'll hold out hope.
Give
I'll
them
hold
some
on hope.
time. Give them some time.
We got to stop doing live shows. They're gonna fucking find out about all
Yeah.
the stuff.
All right, let's real quick and then we'll wrap it up just on the one game slate here. Mike Evans receiving yards. I just loved how involved they got him in the offense last week. And if we
They
look
definitely did that.
here, yeah, he was targeted 14 times. I looked up the last time they played. He played Atlanta on Thursday Night Football. It's going way back to 2016, but he had 11 receptions, 17 targets, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Last time he played Atlanta on Thursday Night Football. If you look, I like this little pattern here. Look at these. A lot of like 2 good games in a row. 2 good games. 2 games.
This is
2 games.
Have you ever played Baccarat? Have you ever played Baccarat before?
Yes.
So,
yes.
This is a Baccarat chart where you're like, well, it's got to be this. You just ignore the thing. You're like, well, 2 times, and everybody has their own system, but I'm
Yes.
fully subscribed to it. Like when you see a pattern like that.
Yeah.
And he got 14 targets. He's not going to go back to, what did he have? Like 4 targets the game before?
For
So
the
cut it
game
in
before,
half.
6. He started the season with 6 and 6. So I think, yeah, he goes back
Yeah,
to
give him
that.
8 targets, and we're having a good game. He definitely scores tomorrow. I hope him and my guy get in, Chris Godwin. He's on my fantasy team. He still had like 8 receptions for 60 or 70 yards in that game, Godwin, even with 14
Yeah.
going to him.
I love this as a builder leg. So look, that's Mike Evans 40 plus receiving yards, which is minus 290, which is an incredible builder leg. He's done that. You can see 19 of 23 games since Baker Mayfield's been the quarterback in Tampa Bay, averaging 72.3. So if you're looking, and compare that to Chris Godwin, 40 plus yards for him is like minus 400.
Yeah.
So very consistent there, getting to 40. Oh, I might have squeezed one. There's a 39 in there that I didn't. But anyway, still super high hit rate. So if you wanted to build your leg, you don't love Evans, the straight line at 60 receiving yards, bring him down to 40 as a piece to a builder. That's a great spot.
I think I have a absolute banger right here. Let's see if it does it.
Hit me.
Oh, dude. So if you take Kirk 200 plus,
Okay.
Mike Evans 40 plus, you're at minus 115, and there's a 30% boost on here. So I'm getting that at plus 113.
That is beautiful.
I think that is going to get smacked as we're on the show. This is why we can't stop the show, because we're going to find shit like this.
Yeah. That's
God damn,
I
that's
love
wonderful. That's 200 yards out of him and 40 out of Mike Evans. He might get 10 targets again. We could go 4 yards a catch.
Yeah.
And get there.
Yeah.
Maybe. I love this. Perfect. We're smacking it.
All right, there you go. There's a little live builder right there, 2 leg, and I love the 2 legs. Get even money or even plus if you got a profit boost in there. So, all right,
That's worth a profit boost.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else on this one, Tim?
For anybody that's still here, we have been absolutely annihilating MLS soccer with to score or assist props. I'm gonna go build another one. I think we've hit 4 of the last 5 plus 690 or longer. And I'm not bragging, I'm just saying like it's at the time of the season when these players, there's 3 games and 4 games left. For example, tonight I'm going to be absolutely hammered at Miami versus Columbus Crew. So I'm going to get it out early. But Messi will show up. Luis Suarez will show up. Cucho might have 45 shots on target. Like these teams know where we're at in the season. There's 3 teams that could still possibly finish in first place. Really, it's just the Crew in Miami. And then they know where they need to jockey to be. And when that happens, the stars show up. So like when you get like Messi to score assists, Suarez, Cucho, Rossi, and a couple other bangers, 3 or 4 players, we were getting to plus 700 last week. And so this is my pitch for soccer. This is when soccer is phenomenal. There's Champions League right now. and we got MLS later. So if you want to make some money or even have some fun, come in. I'll have a couple of those out. And if I hit them, you have to stay forever. And if I miss one or both, you can leave and yell at me on the internet. But soccer is the best sport.
It's a deal.
I'll have fun tomorrow. But yeah, I'm very excited for this slate tonight, and I want people to not miss out. That was
Nice.
That's my pitch. I'm done.
All right, and mine is let's go Mets.
Hell yeah, that's right. They won.
They
That
won,
was
baby.
crazy.
They won. They
Congrats.
won. One more. Let's wrap this series up against the Brewers tonight, and let's be playing into the weekend. So nice work today.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to this game, or these I like these division games on a Thursday night, and I think we're all ready to make some money.
Hell yeah. Sorry about those technical difficulties. We'll not next time. So
See ya.